Hello and welcome, my name is Autobahn Bisquick and I'm here with another build order video on Company of Heroes 2. In this video, we'll be looking at a build order for the Ostheer or the Wehrmacht. This will be a more unorthodox build order, a bit more intermediate, so beginner players beware, this one will be a bit different than usual. It is a non-standard build. This is the Panzergrenadier stall, so called because instead of focusing on grenadiers as our backbone of our infantry, we'll be using Panzergrenadiers installing for them. So as I said, this build order is focused on the Panzergrenadier, and as such we'll be skipping the infantry building from the Ostheer, instead opting to build Engineer and focusing on 2 machine guns. So let's get into the build order right now. So our first unit will be a second Pioneer. You'll be using this one in tandem with your first Pioneer in order to be the early game damage dealers or backbone of your army before the MGs come out. And even once the MGs come out, it can do a lot of good work at close range. One Engineer can 1v1 at close range the Combat Engineer from the Soviets and also the Echelon from the USF. 2 of them can probably 1v1 a conscript and can do well against other infantry. With a pair of Pioneers, you can definitely deal with other factions' engineer options, and sometimes also their mainline infantry options, as long as it's a 2v1. After you finish your second Pioneer, you want to build your first machine gun. This machine gun could be used to lock down territory, hold territory, and pin down enemy infantry. This is good because you'll be having a bit of a weaker start, as you only have Pioneers until you get the Panzergrenadiers, so the machine gun can really hold down space. After that first machine gun, get a second machine gun. With these units, you can lock down your fuel and lock down your cutoff so that you keep fuel going to your base. It's important because you're weak in the early game to cutoffs by enemy infantry, as can be seen here. I've done this happen several times to me in recording for this video. Your goal at this phase of the game is to turtle up until you can get your Battle Phase 1 and Panzergrenadiers. So after you get your second machine gun with your first 40 fuel, you want to build Battle Phase 1. This will allow you to get Panzergrenadiers after you get the Battle Phase and really open up your infantry options because this is where the game really starts. During the tech to Battle Phase 1, you should have been begging up some manpower so that you can afford your first Panzergrenadier as soon as you unlock the Battle Phase. As soon as you can get Panzergrenadier, you must buy it. After your first Panzergrenadier, get a second Panzergrenadier. This pair of Grenadiers is now the backbone of your army. Fortunately, they can 1v1, 2v2, and sometimes 2v3 enemy infantry. Just because the Panzergrenadiers are your elite infantry, they're very good. You may also want to pick up flamethrowers on your engineers, as you do lack a bit of protection for close quarters on your machine guns. Now here you have 2 options, and it really depends on what tempo you want to play for. As Panzergrenadiers are expensive to reinforce, you really want to keep their health up, so you can buy a bunker and get the medics first, or you can just go for the tech building for the 222 and the pack. Now, once you get this building, you have 2 options, getting either the pack or the 222. It really depends on the faction matchup and how well you've played this point. If the other player has a big lead, or they have more fuel, more territory, I would say you probably want to get the pack because you're probably facing a light vehicle pretty soon. Otherwise, a 222 can be really good for destroying enemy infantry, as if you can get a fast timing, around 5 minutes, you probably have 2 minutes of free time to just do uncounterable damage, at least uncounterable by allied light vehicles. Eventually, though, you will want both of the options, both the pack and the 222, as once allied light vehicles come out, you will really need the anti-tank gun to deal with anything heavier than the American anti-aircraft half-track. Once you get those 2, go to Battle Phase 2, and once you get to Battle Phase 2, build the tech, and probably once you get the tech building, you want to get the Panzer IV, although if you feel you have a big enough advantage, you might opt for the Ostwind for the anti-infantry damage. If you don't see tanks come out in the future, we don't see tanks being an issue. Something you will notice between Battle Phase 2 clicking and building the actual tech and getting your tank is you'll have a lot of unused manpower. Usually I use this manpower to build extra Panzergrenadiers. Keep in mind that Panzergrenadiers can upgrade to get the Panzer Shreks, which can do anti-tank damage, having a bad time with light vehicles, or maybe they get a light vehicle out first. You can build additional Panzergrenadiers and give them Panzer Shreks to deal with tanks. At this point in the build order, we are pretty much done. You'll have about 20 manpower to work with, maybe 30, if you've not built full Panzergrenadiers. When we come out into the late game, basically all you have to do at this point is just build counters to whatever the other player is making. I can already help you there, that's on a game-by-game basis. Anyway, that's been the Panzergrenadier stall from the Company of Heroes 2 build order project. If you like the video, consider liking, subscribing, etc., etc., and I'll see you next time.